An ordinance confirming the appointment of Lyndon Odie to the position of police officer in the police department and declaring an emergency.
I, Lyndon Odie, the undersigned, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge the duties of patrolman in the Avon Lake Police Department during my continuance in said position.
Ordinance confirming the appointment of Andrew Robinson to the position of police officer in the police department and declaring an emergency.
I, Andrew Robinson, the undersigned, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge the duties of patrolman in the Avon Lake Police Department during my continuance in said position.
A week ago, the Morning Journal posted the passing of a former Avon Lake councilman who actually passed away on December 10th of 2016, but it was just recently posted. This gentleman's name was Robert Ireland. Mr. Ireland served between 1980 and 1987, so then he served 4 two-year terms. He actually served, I believe, a term before 1980 and then came back to council. He was an employee at B.F. Goodrich, and he was also a U.S. Navy and Marines in the Korean War. I remember Mr. Ireland was on when I came on council, and I sat next to him, and he got into all upset because he thought that the city was spending too much money on yellow paint, the paint that he would put to stripe Lake Road, which wouldn't allow people to pass. He just thought that was a little much, and thought that we could do better things than to paint yellow stripes on as many roads as possible. He was a real good guy, and he had the interests of the residents in mind, and he served the city well, and I just thought it'd be important and relevant that we acknowledge his service. We had a lot of things going on over the last several weeks. We had the Wine Fest on the 23rd of June, and despite Mother Nature challenging that event, it was incredibly successful and just a wonderful time as usual. And then, of course, we came upon the Independence Day celebration on July 3rd. We had the bicentennial kickoff at that time, and there was an incredible crowd that gathered, and we found, thanks to the bicentennial efforts, that the children's activities that were to the west of the stage were incredibly popular and very well received by residents. And people never got to go in front of the stage to hear the music because they were there having a good time. A couple of negatives. One is we need more restrooms, and even though we had porta potties, we should have made people aware that there were porta potties available because they were not used, even though there were long lines. So we're going to take care of that next year. And the hope is for more food trucks. We had huge lines. The food was very good. Some people ran out. So we're going to make some adjustments for next year as we end our bicentennial celebration. Says She was the local band, and then the regional band was Revolution Pie, and they were very well received. And the fireworks were also received a lot of compliments. We also had Hooks for Hunger about 10 days ago, and Hooks for Hunger, I'm going to let Joe talk about Hooks when he goes to his report. Joe, would you mind doing that? Because sure. You guys certainly deserve the right to brag about what you hauled in for CRS. It was just amazing. We do have something to look forward to. We've got the big trucks coming up the third weekend in September. We'll have a bicentennial twist to that. And then we have a homecoming parade, and the schools are organizing an open house for people to go to the various elementary schools they may have attended, and then gravitate and move up to the high school for a reception there, and also the parade. And also we have Blue by the Woods coming up in October, and of course that's going to have a bicentennial twist to it. We had a lot of people volunteering to make the thing go, but very importantly, the Avon Lake employees, the police, the fire, and public works did an outstanding job preparing the venue and making sure things ran smoothly. So we're very lucky to have such a cooperative and a supportive community. I think people had a great time. One of the most wonderful things during the fireworks, kids who got free glow sticks had them all over their bodies, and they were spinning around in the infield just off the stage, and it was almost like poetry watching all these incredible colors move and sway and so forth. And the kids really had a great time doing that. There's a lot of excitement in the air. So we're very lucky to have such a wonderful community and getting people to come out and share in the enjoyment of our bicentennial and, of course, Independence Day. That concludes my report, sir.
We want to thank many, many people. Ford UAW, once again, was a major participant. Duber Automotive got very involved in the event this year. It was a major contributor. Columbia Gas was in there. But then Jim DePaul at Jake's on the Lake and Novotny Catering and Cisco Foods all helped have a wonderful lunch. We appreciate everybody coming out. It was a very, very, very hot day. We have to say that. We went through lots of water. But this year we sold out of our boats almost 2 weeks before the event. We had over 200 people there at the luncheon. Door prizes were well received, but when it came time to clean up, it's amazing how fast people work when it's really hot outside to get home. So, but we had a wonderful time. The weather cooperated. It was lovely, and we will be presenting the check to CRS this week, but we will be over $25,000 for the single year.
Wow.
So, 35,000, sorry.
5,000.
We did extremely well. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm rather excited to support and introduce this legislation. If the bicentennial kickoff is anything like this event is going to be, it's going to be absolutely spectacular. The Bicentennial Committee is planning a beer festival at Miller Road Park on September 22nd, 2018, to celebrate 200 years of Avon Lake as a community. This ordinance will allow the city to apply for the permits and to allow to serve and consume beer and other alcoholic beverages on September 22nd during this festival. I'm looking forward to it. I know the Bicentennial Committee has put a lot of thought into this, and I'm sure it'll be a wonderful event. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Rossman with the roll, please.
Mrs. Campo.
An enthusiastic yes.
Mrs. Fenderbosh.
Yes.
Mr. James.
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. O'Donnell.
Yes.
Mr. Zuber.
Yes.
Mr. Arnold.
Yes.